that you've done everything of that there's the winners, dictating the game, and still you've lost or frustrating. Is it and why not?
Well, it's frustrating, but it's the game of tennis. A lot of swings in the match today, and I certainly had the lead and the advantage. She picked up her game, and in the third, I think a lot of it had to do with the returns. I didn't do much on her service games. She was winning them pretty easy. On mine, they were quite long and just making too many errors, not putting any pressure on her. So that's I think the most frustrating part.
I want to talk about the last game. You were starting from behind the whole third set, which is obviously tough anyways. And I think you had 2 games plus 10 minutes just trying to hold. So
Yeah.
What are you feeling going out there at 4-5? It looks like there are times.
Yeah, it's a tough position, but I got myself back from love 30 and from match point, and and like I said, she returned much better in those situations than I did. I think I gave her too many free points, and that this type of match and these circumstances that you're not putting that much pressure on your opponent. It's a difficult situation to go into, definitely.
Were you starting up 3-love? You were very confident at that point. What happened at that moment after you got 3-1 and then you were up 4-1?
Well, I was up a set and a break, and I had game points to go up 2-0, I think, a few. And there's no doubt that she raised her level, and she started playing better and moving better. A few little things here and there could have certainly changed things around.
What's the toughest thing in your game, when you're facing her? What's the toughest thing for you when you're playing the other end?
Well, when you're in that battle, you're not thinking about your opponent. Of course, you have a strategy, and you're thinking of a few things that will help you, but a lot of it is instinct, and believing your game will eventually win you the match. But like I said, I think I didn't make her play in certain situations of that third. We can discuss the first and the second, but ultimately when it gets to that third set, and I just don't think I did enough on those games to put any thought in her mind.
Maria, it's not like she's bombing serves like Serena, and I know she's pretty consistent with her first serve, but were you just not getting a good hit on the ball, or is she tougher to read?
Yeah, wasn't at all. Especially in the third, I wasn't doing anything with it, and I think I was making 1 or 2 errors, not even making her play, which is not good. And I thought I was doing a much better job of that in the first and the second, and I think that put a lot of pressure on her service games. But not in the third.
Was there any moment where you thought about you could reach that record this year? I know it was brought to your attention the other day.
Yeah, well, it was 4-all, and anything can happen at that point, but this one just didn't go my way.
Maria, how different a player is she on hard court versus another service?
Well, I think I've only played against her on hard and clay. She's certainly improved her movement on the hard courts, and she's in good shape right now. I don't think we were out there for over 2 hours, but I think both of us could still run and play for a while. I still felt I didn't feel too tired in the end, and she certainly had a lot of energy. But as far as the differences, I only played her 1 match on clay. So.
Maria, you've been off court for just a little bit, but the slam season is now over for you. But you had some fabulous results. Could you just talk about your year, particularly in the slams, overall, and also what it's meant for you living the BlackBerry?
I'll take them. I'll take the results I had this year. I look back at in the beginning of the season and, not really remember going to Australia early, not really sure if I was going to play that warm-up tournament. My ankle was still not feeling great. So if someone had told me, when I had that uncertainty going into the Australian Open that I would have this type of season, and like it's still not over, we still have a few more events to play, I would have been pretty happy. Of course, like you mentioned, this is the last one. It's really where I would have, loved to get even further, but it's certainly a step better than the last few years I've been here. So.
You have to grade yourself. You have to grade yourself on this, the way you played in this tournament, given what you know you can do and how you felt out there match after match. Where would you put yourself?
How would you want, in terms of what, in numbers
And
or?
did you go out there feeling like after your game everything was working well? Was it a struggle for you?
Well, I mean, I can look at it so many different ways. Like I said, there were a lot of swings in the match, and I was up, and I mean, who knows if it's 2-0, and she starts thinking. But when I had my opportunities, I don't think I took them, and I think when you're in the situation of a third set, you got to put pressure on your opponent, and I don't think I did that at all.
Given that Serena, as you can tell, is dominating right now against Iran, it's 5-1.
Mm-hmm.
Assuming that she does play again in the final, is there anything anybody really can do against Serena when she's playing the dominating tennis that she's playing right now? And what does Big have to do?
I'm not her coach. It's not in my job description. There's a reason why everyone is in the draw. There's a reason why everyone puts the net up in the morning for us to play matches, no matter who's going in there as a favorite, no matter how confident they are. Everyone has a chance, and there's no reason why she's number one in the world, and there's no reason why she shouldn't have a chance.
You seem to really obviously want this win, no question. You were very demonstrative about it. Was there anything about this title that really was so close that made it more important to you?
Well, it's New York, it's a Grand Slam, it's the U.S. Open, and I mean, of course it's meaningful. You want to perform well. You're in a battle out there, and this is what you practice for, is to get in those situations and try to get out of them. And today I just didn't.
Do you stick around for Fashion Week, or do you at home, or what do you do for it?
I don't know. I've been in the city for 3 weeks, so it's been a while, but looking forward to checking out that ice cream truck that's around the corner from my hotel. It's been haunting me. I'm telling the driver, like, get out of here. I can't look at you anymore. But so I'll have time for that. But other than that, I think I miss home and just want to be in a home atmosphere for a little bit.
What flavor?
Vanilla with rainbow sprinkles.
Maria, so do you say to yourself, I'm happy I played Victoria much closer today than I did in Australia or Indian Wells, and I came close to beating her, or do you say, big missed opportunity, I should have won that match?
You can look at it so many different ways. Yeah, it's always a little bit tougher when you feel like you have those chances, and the scoreline was a lot tougher this time, obviously, but the result wasn't what I wanted. So, in both of them.
With everything you've gone through, just how gratifying is it to be consistently in the hunt for big titles and to feel you're in that battle and in that game all the way there?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, I try to get a sense of that perspective as much as possible, because you can lose it so fast, because the grinding, the days, and the work that you put in, and then the tournaments, everything kind of just happens. It's a groove, and it's easy to forget where you came from and what you had to go through to get to that point. But when I do think about it, I'm so lucky that I get to play the sport, that I love playing it still, that I feel like I have a lot in me, and that I'm number 3 in the world right now, is back at number 1, winning Grand Slams again. So it's certainly a great feeling.
Jimmy Connors was saying this past week that no matter what you do after you play, nothing is going to feel like being out there. 25,000 people showcasing your talent.
I agree.
You've had a taste of life outside a little bit so far. I would guess that he's right.
I agree, definitely. There's nothing in life that gives you that. The sport, it's like that moment that you experience. The losing is always not fun, but the victories and everything just happens in moments. Whereas in other careers, I think it's such a different process. I always, always try to compare it to maybe other careers where, you can be such a great actress, or a model, but if nobody puts you on a cover of a magazine, you can be so good, you can be extremely talented, but your career is always in the hands of other people, which is so difficult to think about. Or sometimes you can be kind of so-so, and then you're made into a star. So it's such a unique situation, and I was in a position where I was out of the sport and I got to do many things, but there's nothing like being in that moment. And I mean, as tough as these days are, it's always so gratifying when you're sitting in a press conference at the end of winning a Grand Slam, and talking about how you got to that point. It's just, you can talk all day. It's such a great feeling.
Is it also controlling your own destiny, where you say instead of somebody else choosing you for that magazine cover, you're making it happen on tennis court?
A little bit, definitely. You're controlling a lot more of your life than maybe, and not that the other. I mean, I'm not trying to put down anybody else. It's just how it works in those situations. And I know many people in different industries, but I always relate so much to athletes in terms of just the feelings that they experience, or it's almost like when someone does a movie for so many months and then they go to the Oscars, and then that moment that their movie is good is if they win the Oscar, So it's just it's a different thinking process for me. But I'm so happy that I'm not in any other career. I wouldn't trade this for anything.
Maria, our sport is built around these four great slams and with their center courts. You talked about the thrill of being out there. Of the four center courts in the slams, what is the most meaning, or gives you the biggest charge, or do you love the most?
I mean, each one is so different. I mean, the energy that you experience here in New York is so unique. I mean, when you're in the changeover and the music's just blasting, you don't have that. And even in Australia, it's not like that. In Wimbledon, there's so much tradition, and I love the fact that you walk out on the court and there's no introductions. It's a matter of just two athletes going out there, and it's all about them and their tennis. And this is, of course, much more of a show and more of a production. But it's great to have all these different atmospheres, I guess.
Maria, tennis often thrives on rivalries. How would you describe right now the state of your rivalry with Vika and where it might go?
Yeah, well, we both still have many years ahead of us, so I'm sure that we'll be facing against each other many more times, and in Grand Slams and other tournaments, and she has the better record right now against me, and hopefully when I'm done, maybe I can change that around.
How do you get over this kind of loss?
Excuse me?
How do you get over this kind of loss? Do you have a special routine? What you're putting your mind into?
No, I think just putting things in perspective. I'm certainly in the last few years, especially after my injury, I've been a lot better about accepting wins and accepting losses. I think I try to think that if you're level-headed about difficult defeats, or and then if you get something in your career that's incredible, but if you take it in a calm way, then the defeats don't seem as difficult. So I try to. I mean, after I won the French Open, of course, I was so happy, but I had this really calm feeling that, like a settlement in my career. Like, it wasn't like I wanted to go out and party and, tell the whole world that I had won. It was just this feeling like within me that I achieved something that I worked for. And losses, of course, they're difficult, and the world knows you lose, and that's their sport. But at the end of the day, that's what makes me better. I feel like it motivates me to go back on the court and to practice. Thank you.
Thank you.
Questions in Russian?
Sounds like
With your own candy on.
Yes, it is, of course.
Enjoy it. Thanks, Maria.
Здравствуйте, Маша.
Здравствуйте.
Чего сегодня не хотел?